Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, alongside
with the Sable Heat,
with a very special edition of VSW Podcast. Tonight, we're talking the big one, folks. The biggest show of the year, WrestleMania 38.
The showcase of Immortal, two-night event for Versace.
2 nights, the most stupendous WrestleMania. And boy, I don't know. I mean, it delivered in some aspects. It failed in others. It was better than some others. It was worse than others.
Way better than last year, Mike.
It blew me away in some spots, and others I was like, We're going to talk all of it. We're going to talk everything that occurred. And, we'll get a full...
So we'll do night 1 first, then night 2 in the order it came in.
Yeah, let's do it, bro.
So, night 1 started off, you had 2 big main events, whether it was the talk segment of Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, and of course the main event Sunday was supposedly the biggest main event ever, title versus title, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. We're going to start off with a bang. Night 1, there were no pre-show matches this year, folks, so they started it with the SmackDown.
The Andre Battle Royal was on SmackDown WrestleMania, which was that Friday.
And it was won by Madcap Monster Henchman and Mr. Happy Corbin.
Yeah. And that was a pretty interesting thing to watch. But I want to just stop for a second and just say I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't do the Battle Royal on the pre-show. It was a 2-hour pre-show, mind you, for WrestleMania, and there was no matches.
And my biggest disappointment, Scott, the late great Chico Scott Hall passed away from us. And the fact that we didn't get Ricochet defend that title against a ladder. Where if you remember the last Dallas WrestleMania, you had Zack Ryder win the Intercontinental Championship in that ladder match.
Wow. Yeah, I know. And, they could have even done maybe a tribute to him in this year's...
And I want Demon Finn Balor defending that U.S. title.
Yeah, they missed 2 of the largest titles, which basically shows you that the U.S. title and...
the Intercontinental title
are just not really that relevant right now.
Should be.
They were. I mean, look who used to hold them. Macho Man Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, Rick Rude, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Go on and on and on and on and on the list of people that held that title. Look at the U.S. title. Look at John Cena's run. Look at AJ Styles' run. Look at these people. Booker T. Look at the people that made this run. Look what WCW had, and then they don't even put this in the show. Come on. But that's WWE for you, and it was 2 nights, and they still couldn't even deliver this, which was interesting.
Yeah, and you could have had. But I want to get the negativity out of the way.
Oh, it's not really negativity. It's just some feedback, To be honest with you, I'm a fan of a 1-night Mania. Yeah, I think it can all be done in 1 night.
I think
Saturday night for NXT, Sunday night for the Mania. That's just me, though. I like that formula.
Because if you didn't go to NXT, you could have gone to Access at night. You could have gone to an indie show at night.
But you know what? At least it was not raining this year. Last year it was pouring rain in Tampa. It was a delayed start right off the beginning of WrestleMania. Delayed start. So we didn't have any of that issue this year. We had a very nice. You had a very nice. It was nice.
So we're gonna talk about the opening match on WrestleMania Saturday. Was for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions between the Roman Reigns Bloodline henchmen of the Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and his guitar man, Rick Boogs.
I'm a big fan of Shinsuke. I feel like
Rick Boogs has been a great hype man, bringing back the theme song for Shinsuke.
I feel like he hasn't been utilized ever properly in WWE.
Oh, I know it.
But it's getting better. At least now he speaks English.
And he's won an IC title, a U.S. championship.
I mean, those are nice titles if they actually defended. But yes, he has done things, okay? And he's now going after bigger and better titles, I heard, if you're watching SmackDown tonight. But, I do like him. I like him as a singles competitor, though. I don't know why they keep throwing him in, obscure tag team matches. But it was a good match because he was against the Usos, which is a very dominant tag team in the industry.
Both very high-flying Usos.
But, they're part of the bloodline. They have it in them. They have
so many tag team title reigns, SmackDown or Raw tag team. They're legendary staff. They started off, they've been in WWE, believe it or not, for over 10 years. Rikishi, the sons of the great Rikishi in that Samoan bloodline with The Rock. And you got the Usos winning. They took years to get them on the main card. And finally,
it took a while, but as you know, there was some like alcohol issues, I think, that kind of prevented them from getting further in the industry. Now that things are more stable, they're being utilized a lot more.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're right in the main line with, Roman Reigns. I love it, And it's great to see. And this was a great way to open the show. At least they didn't open it with the women's title match or anything silly.
Like we all thought, because last year they did open with the Lashley McIntyre match from that delay. It's kind of effective.
Yeah, I know. And so you never know what can happen. But...
and it ended up being the Usos retain it because, unfortunately, what made this... it's no one's fault that this wasn't a match, it turned out. I heard Shinsuke and Boogs would have won, but he had a freaky injury. Kind of like what we...
Who, Boots?
Boogs.
Yeah.
His ACL, I believe.
Yeah, he got injured kind of like
when
how
he
we
was
just
carrying Jimmy Uso.
We just saw Layla Hirsch get injured, too. At a AEW show. And we saw people got injured at a training seminar. I mean, people get injured. Injuries happen, unfortunately. But if you are injured, there's no point in putting the belts on you. So, I guess a last-minute change happened. I do feel bad, though, for Shinsuke in this because, where does he go from now? But as you can see, he's getting that push on TV right now.
Absolutely, and the Usos kind of knew the Usos had to retain coming into that Roman Lesnar match the next night. Kind of had to make it look strong.
Yeah, it would be kind of silly if, they weren't champions, but Roman wins double. It's like, oh, well, they're not that good.
But, Meltzer did rate that match, and I think it was a 1 star. I think it would have been 2 stars because you got to take that injury factor out.
It's a fine match. You know how I feel about tag team matches like that, but it is what it is. I feel like WWE right now has a very flawed tag division. It's a little bit everywhere. There is no real tag teams left. Yeah, you have the Usos, you have some other people, but you don't have...
New Day.
Figure this way. We just went to AEW. We've just seen a bunch of tag matches, and most of them were pretty legit with real tag teams. Absolutely. Meaning both, they're not just two names thrown together for the sake.
They felt main event worthy.
But they feel actually like tag teams. They have matching gear. They come out together. They have their little schlick. It is what it is. Let's get to the next match, though.
Next match is you got the grudge match. There's been a few going on SmackDown for months. You got Happy Corbin accompanied by Andre the Giant, Memorial Battle Royal winner on the previous night's SmackDown. Madcap Mox taking on the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre.
Wow, what a matchup.
That was the right place for it. I'm happy it was second. Because that was the least anticipating match, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm being a little sarcastic. I'm not a big Corbin fan. But...
not ever since he became the constable from the Lone Wolf.
It just kind of I don't know. It always irked me that his feud with Kurt Angle ended the way it did. It just always kind of bothered me.
Yeah. And that would have been better as a 2-night Mania when I went to that.
Oh, that needed the 2 nights. Okay, that one needed. It was such a stacked card.
Going forward, Versace, every other year do a 1 night, every other year do a 2-night.
That might be an idea, eh?
Because it makes sense. This Mania would have been an all-time great if it was still pretty good, but if it were a 1 night, because when we talk about the rest of the night, in case you live under the rock, I know some of you do, we'll talk about what made this Mania deliver and why it was hard for the next night to follow.
It tried to follow, but yeah, it was a little bit hard.
Absolutely.
So you had another tag match, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we did.
And,
it was a singles match, though, Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, you mentioned a bunch of names. Like, I don't remember 2 back-to-back opening tag matches. But, backtrack a year and you had Drew McIntyre in the championship. Right now you got him fighting Happy Corbin. It's like, dude, when's Drew ever going to get his moments?
But he did get a moment. It was memorable, a quick match. Madcap Moss did look like he was going to get Happy Corbin to take that victory. Ever since They won a lot of money in Vegas months ago.
But
anyways, Drew fell off since he was supposed to main event against Brock Lesnar. He did win the top, but it was in an empty arena. It would have been an epic moment if it had there been no pandemic. And last year was robbed because he came off a rain delay, and they took the title.
he's had some shit luck. Let's just say that. But I mean,
but that was the right call. And when he used the sword and slashed the ropes,
and you saw the ropes cut, and that was the end of that, and that was the end of the match. And I mean,
it was meant for a great. It wasn't meant to be a 5-star match or anything.
no, but he could have. I mean,
I'm glad
but
it was
he's not in
the
that.
night.
Yeah, I mean, it was Happy Corbin. What are you gonna do?
Absolutely. And are you ready to move on?
I am.
So our next match is a tag team match. Include one of the celebrities. You've got the team of YouTube boxer sensation Logan Paul and the A-lister, the legendary, The Miz, taking on WWE 2K cover 22 Cruiserweight legend Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic Guerrero Mysterio. Mysterio, but you get my point, folks.
Yeah, no, I have to say Logan Paul. Or Paul Logan, is it?
Logan Paul.
Yeah, Logan Paul. This dude delivered every which way.
Definitely did Versace.
Him and Miz made a great tag team here.
Yeah, but there was a moment where they were coming very close and it looked like Ray would make, but he mocked the late great Eddie Guerrero, Logan Paul, doing a Three Amigos and then a frog splash.
But you see, though, Dominic did the tribute coming out in the old Eddie, American
From
gear.
Great American Bash.
So, I mean, there was some nostalgia there. And, honestly, Dominic is getting better. Dominic is getting much better, actually.
Really better since he started in that whole pandemic, Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, he was kind of timid there and, scared, and now he's right on it.
He's gaining a lot of charisma.
And he's getting in his groove. The kid can have a future for himself, especially in WWE.
There's no doubt about that, Versace. Really isn't any doubt, in my opinion, buddy.
Nope.
So what happened was, and then the Miz tagged himself right when the Mysterios were about to win after he hit a 619 on Logan. Double 619, I might add on. And then Miz hit the skull-crushing finale on Rey Mysterio. And then it looked like they were celebrating after. Miz and Logan Paul get the victory. The Miz turned on his celebrity A-lister, making fun of the Mysterios on Miz TV on Raw leading up to it. He turns on the celebrity guy, Logan Paul.
Kind of.
If you don't forget, Miz did retain the WWE title in the main event against Cena, and he got rock bottom by The Rock. So
people forget how great The Miz is, and before MJF came on the scene, he was the number one heel.
He was a legendary Intercontinental Champion.
Unbelievable.
Best in this era, that's for sure.
He had the white belt.
Yeah, of course. Former WWE Champion. He won Money in the Bank not once, but twice.
Love that guy. Not to mention,
he's the first ever double Grand Slam champion.
And he has a great reality show, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, with his wife Maurice and his 2 kids. And you think I really want Miz to get a Universal title run, maybe go someday, but Roman ain't losing that double belt anytime soon, so it's best to keep himself relevant in high-profile feuds with celebrities. So that was probably was thinking, because knowing whoever won the Lesnar-Reigns match, he wasn't going to get a title shot anytime soon.
No, he knew that.
So are you ready to move on?
I am.
So, the next match of the night, Versace, is gonna be. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
The Raw Women's Championship between the man, big time Becky Lynch versus the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair.
I just love how Becky Lynch's role has changed. She is much more dangerous as a heel. You remember she had her Mania moments a while back. Becky 2 belts. She was double champion, and then she lost one title, and then she relinquished another title, giving it to Asuka.
Absolutely, Versace.
She gave it to Asuka before she left on that leave.
had a kid with Seth frickin' Rollins.
And then when she came back, she's been a much different Becky Lynch.
It was a match a lot of people were looking really forward to. But don't forget, it's the battle of the two women who successfully won a title in the main event of WrestleMania.
They have, and this could have easily main evented on Mania. This could have easily main evented any night on any pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these women are incredibly talented.
Absolutely, Versace. Both very, very talented, in my opinion, buddy. And you got both of them having a big-time feud that caused a lot of scars and injuries for either one. You had Becky get slashed in what looked like a knife or pole from Bianca Belair. And then Bianca Belair cut her hair, too, on the Raw before Mania.
Yep. This was a very...
And you had Becky almost ending her.
This match this was a very personal matchup here.
It's one of the best matches of the night, but it was overshadowed by stuff later. But
I think I was happy to see the ESP pull it off.
Yeah, she kicked out a lot of Becky finishers too. It was amazing. You didn't know who was gonna win this match, which is a rarity in WWE.
No, we didn't. Going into it, we would have thought maybe Becky would have taken it. I don't know. Bianca had her moment before. We said. We had a few different outcomes to this, and
Becky Lynch did the disarm her not once but twice to Belair. Hit a manhandle slam or other finishers too.
It was intense. It was an intense matchup. It was one of my favorite matches, though. As I said, it would be one of my favorite matches.
It was Bianca Belair with the splash KOD that finished her against Sasha Banks to win the SmackDown Women's title last year night. One she did again on night one to win the Raw Women's Championship. And she's the first woman ever to win back-to-back Women's Championships at WrestleMania.
Yep, it's quite amazing. She has done it, and I couldn't have happened to a better wrestler. She's amazing.
Very charismatic
in this industry. I love her. She's one of the best. Becky Lynch is great too. I have
one of my favorites.
I really got a great appreciation for the women's division in WWE. It's come a very long way through the decades I've started to watch wrestling as a kid. And they deliver all the time. Yes.
At some point, if Vince could get to his shareholders, I'd love to see some of them. If you do well if you win a Raw and SmackDown Women's title, you should challenge the men's division for the U.S. or Intercontinental.
You got shareholders in mainstream TV not wanting to see men fight girls, but indie scene is kind of an every week occurrence. A lot of people get shocked by that. They're like, especially in foreign countries, they let the women fight the men.
Like both Becky, Bianca, and Charlotte and Ronda would do amazing at that. Not everyone would be able to do it in WWE, but...
No, but they also have people like, yes, Ronda could go head-to-head with any of the guys, and, they have people like Shayna Baszler that could do the same. I don't know. We had, you had people in the past like Chyna.
Oh, I know it, Chyna. She also won Intercontinental titles. She faced a few men.
And that was in a time period that there wasn't really this, this great big, the women's evolution. So, definitely a pivotal moment, though. But it was, like you said, Bianca Belair as champion, and she did it. Are you ready to move on?
Absolutely, Versace. And it was the most anticipating, besides the talk show moment of all of WrestleMania, but all of wrestling. You got Seth Rollins chasing that WrestleMania moment, chasing an opponent. He tried to fight KO to get his talk show with Stone Cold. Lost. He tried to face AJ to face his opportunity to face Edge again. Lost. Or actually won that, but Edge hit AJ with a steel chair. But at the same time, you had Seth Rollins in the ring, and it took 2 minutes. There was no music going on. We all thought Vince was going to introduce the opponent, kind of like how he's on TV with Austin Theory.
Oh yeah, I mean this was a big moment. You got to remember now, people had talked about this for quite some time, and there was a lot of speculation. Obviously, some of the obvious names were thrown around there as people had been released from AEW, but then there was also names that had people that had left WWE,
like the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, or even maybe Undertaker.
Or Shane McMahon. I mean,
and that was the rumored match before the Royal Rumble.
So I mean, we didn't really know. I mean, we heard rumors, but usually WWE is like either they 100% spoil it or we don't know what the hell's going on. And
Seth has been killing it since he's become this delusional, crazy laughter.
He's much more cocky, much more. He's got a great personality right now.
Different than the Architect Authority Seth.
And different than even when he was like kind of that religious guy. So I mean, the way he mocked Roman was great too. Coming out to the old Shield music.
The fact that before the Raw aired, there was a YouTube video in him in Mr. McMahon's office. He's like, "Why did you have to go through so much hoops, damn it? If you wanted a WrestleMania match, why didn't you ask?"
And
you know, danced
but I think Vince surprised the world. Talk about forbidden doors. Talk about things. He brought somebody back that someone would if you asked a year or 2 years ago, would say this would never happen in a million years. And it was the American Nightmare. Cody Rhodes.
Adrenaline.
Now, I mean, if you watched AEW from the beginning, if you watched that epic Double or Nothing, the first one,
2019,
you will see Cody come out and mock Triple H horrendously with breaking, that steel statue chair. He's got the sledgehammer. They've taken shots. He's taking shots. He was so unhappy at Stardust. He said it was an all-time low. He made
and he fell off after making the IC title.
His fan base, they had him. He had him in gimmicks with weird masks like Brandon Cutler, and you had all this stuff going on. But then something happened. He left WWE and he made a name for himself on the indie circuit. He made a name for himself. He grabbed a fan base. Then AEW begins. He becomes, part of this thing. He becomes a beginner. Opening.
Just like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and
and we see him in some high-profile matches right off the bat.
We saw him introduce a Mild Cartel, the TNT.
Well, what happened was if you remember, he got to the point where he was in a stipulation. If he lost, he could never challenge for the world title. He did not win. People were very happy that he did not go over and say, "Oh, well, an owner didn't go over. Wow, that makes sense." He did win the TNT title. He put some prestige on that, I think. And, and then something kind of happened. The fans started to turn like they do on almost every baby face in the industry.
Especially Roman Reigns type heat.
Roman Reigns, John Cena. It happened to Seth Rollins. This isn't like before.
Charlotte.
When I was a kid, everybody loved Hogan. They loved him. Bret Hart, they went with him. Whoever the champion was, they rolled with him.
Then you had Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. If you were in U.S., you loved Shawn, you hated Bret. If you were in Canada, you worshipped Bret and hated Shawn.
Yep. You had all this. WrestleMania 12 was actually like, some say heel face, some say face. It all depends on where you're from. But you had the unthinkable happen. Cody Rhodes back in WWE. He came out to his regular theme, American Nightmare. It's like
that
he never
down straight. I could not believe it. We would have never dreamed of something like that.
It's like he just never left AEW and just walked right in
as himself. The Pharaoh American Nightmare.
He didn't have to change any name. He didn't have to do nothing.
No new gimmick.
Nothing. Same tattoo, same everything, and you gotta wonder if it was all about that. But
so he didn't have to pay royalties to Vince.
Not for the last name of the Rhodes. It's a kayfabe name, so that's why kind of. If you look at Dustin Russell, he doesn't call himself Dustin Rhodes. He just calls himself Dustin.
Of course.
But you saw that emotional. You know what it means to Cody and his father's legacy and what this world title means to him, and he wants it. And the only way he's going to get it is in WWE. So here we are. and Cody's back. And you know what a great match.
Was
Him
one of my
versus
favorite
Seth
Mania
Rollins.
matches.
This is probably one of the best matches of Mania of the night.
And it definitely lived up to his hype.
It did.
Over a freaking rumor.
It did.
It was one of my favorite. And fireworks came out, and then you heard Cody's theme. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, even though they did leak it for some time.
They had leaked it, but like I said, it was also leaked that.
With all the shots he'd taken so much.
And he was supposed to be at a wedding or something that day.
Well, his brother Dustin's daughter Dakota got married.
So, I mean, you had that. You also had the fact that he took so many shots. Why would he go to a rival company? I mean, why did his brother follow suit? What had happened?
But it was.
We're never going to know the story of what had happened.
Maybe in the dark side of the ring, and if you make a joke, someone will come after us.
Oh, probably.
But the thing is, Versace, it had a lot of high-flying moves, a lot of acrobatic. They had very similar style. Don't forget, Cody's first ever FCW opponent was Seth Rollins.
And you know...
and they haven't really faced each other in a WWE ring as singles because it was either the Shield versus the Rhodes brothers.
And this was a great match. It was a great Mania match.
They had great chemistry together.
They did. They really knew what you could tell they did.
He kicked out of he couldn't get the curb stomp on Cody, but he did a pedigree on Cody and kicked out of it, which was kind of ironic.
Yeah, well.
If that's the one feud I want to see before I die, I know he just retired, almost died from heart surgery, but the great game Triple H, I want to see a Rhodes Triple H match. That has to happen.
It might. You never know. You know, people... Listen, okay? Never say never,
Look at Edge, Bryan.
Look at Edge, exactly. Nobody ever thought Edge would be back like this. Okay? Look at Daniel Bryan.
Look at Bret Hart coming back to Vince McMahon, you know?
You've had people come back, okay? Anything can happen.
Absolutely. And the thing is, Versace, too, it's one of my favorite matches. He used not 1, 2, but 3 crossroads to finally finish off Seth Rollins. But he had this bionic elbow, which is a great signature. It's best signature, the finisher in WWE right now. Second to the Becky's or the Roman Superman punch to
Well, that, is a throwback to his father's bionic elbow.
Very true. And we found out why he came back, so he could be WWE World Champion. He's never been World Champion.
He's never been World Champion. His brother's never been World Champion. His father's never been World Champion. It means a lot to these guys to become World Champion.
And Cody, they're giving Cody what he wants. He's not going to become Stardust. He said Andy wanted to keep his music, be able to be on tour with his kid, check out his wrestling school, be with Brandy. Like, Finn. He made it. He smartened up. When he left the first time, he would have only gotten a little less than $500K if he had stayed. Then he went to the indie scene, became Ring of Honor, became part of the Elite, and the rest was history. Made himself super marketable without all that.
Oh, yeah, he has. And he put, a name on himself, and now he's worth something.
And he's worth so much that he's a needle mover. Him and the Stone Cold stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit, garnered the highest traction, highest views on the YouTube, so he's going to become a draw more than Vince would ever think he has to go.
Oh, yeah, and...
He's getting people to want to watch Raw.
Of course.
After Mania, like I said, Seth Rollins came out, he wants to compete for the WWE Championship. It started off with him. He didn't bash AEW, he's never going to do it.
Nope, but some of those AEW casuals, some of the people that watch both are now going to watch more Raw to see Cody.
But here's the thing, Versace. If Cody can come back,
anybody
don't
can.
you think MJF will get
MJF could go. Jericho
will definitely go. Maybe John Moxley, or Dean Ambrose.
No, maybe him, but
you can't do all the hardcore stuff.
You got to remember, there was a lot of disgruntled workers in WWE that left for other reasons. They weren't let go, and then there was guys that were let go or that didn't have productive runs. Moxley wanted out. He wanted out in the worst way. He wanted to do his New Japan work. He wanted to go and do, GCW. And when AEW came around, it was a perfect opportunity for him. He wants the hardcore matches. And, but it does open the possibilities for so many people to go any which way. I mean, you never see the Young Bucks go, but...
You won't see a lot of those tag teams go if I had to go.
No, because the division just isn't really there, but...
A lot of the singles guys will go.
Yeah, I mean, they could.
Jericho.
If Young Bucks weren't using Brandon Cutler, you don't think he would go?
Yeah, you got that right. Maybe someone like Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti could come back,
Yeah, well,
they got boot. They
could
the
come.
Cody treatment in AEW.
Oh, they could go, but they cannot do what they do. They become like public enemy number one.
But Edge and Lita did have a live sex celebration at one time for some.
Jesus. You're going to end up getting us canceled.
Oh, God.
But, so who won this match, Disabled?
You should know Cody, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't... Oh, no, night one wasn't that bad. You hadn't eaten the edibles night one. Night two is a different story. Night one, we were straight.
Night two was a different story for Sasha.
Night one, we had the great... what do we have? The great Panchu with us.
Oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately, though, he looked a little under the weather. The dude looked like he had,
He looked like he was on life support.
Yeah, I don't know. He looked to me like he had, 3 variants going at once. I don't know. I was a little nervous, but he kept his mask on.
Don't talk about the spiritual God.
He kept to his corner. He didn't even mention he was sick. It's fine, right? That's not how it works nowadays. If you don't tell you anything, it's okay.
He's a friend. He wouldn't do that.
No, he's the friendliest friend. But anyways, it was fine. But that was night one. Night two, he didn't come. He told me it was night two wasn't coming. It was too much mania for 1-2 nights. He'll watch Raw.
So, our next match, ready to move on?
I am.
Was the advertised event, which felt like kind of a letdown in this. It was the advertised main event. I'll label it a co-main event, the women's main event. You had a battle, 2 of the 3 participants in the first ever women's WrestleMania, between rowdy UFC legend Ronda Rousey taking on the Queen, Charlotte Flair.
Woo! Woo! I mean, okay, let's just talk about this and let's talk about the elephant in the room. This should have been the freaking main event, but I understand why it's not.
That's true when we talk about it in 5 minutes.
But, not for nothing, they could have had this. They could have. Okay, what they could have done, now hear me out.
Absolutely, I'll hear you out. But
they could have made this actually main event NXT. Because, Charlotte started off in NXT. She's a pinnacle person. They brought it back and forth. They could have had this match, even though it's for a different title, headline that show and throw one of the IC matches or U.S. titles in its place. It should have had its full thing, but I get why. I was very looking forward to it. Did it deliver 100%?
And they got time constraints on that one, too.
I feel like it did because everything kind of got rushed somehow because you got to remember
the New Day Sheamus match
never happened night one.
And everyone was looking forward to that as like a battle.
It got cut, which screwed us up because we was about to go and get food during that match. And, it never happened, so we ended up going during this match.
And I really wish that or the Becky Bianca match was on night 2. That was because one of them wouldn't. These 2 women's matches wouldn't have gotten overshadowed.
No, and they kind of did, and this was a great matchup though, but Ronda is Ronda. I believe she deserves a little bit better, and Charlotte, she deserves better.
Absolutely.
She made that. First of all, let me just say, Ronda Rousey made that Rumble watchable. That Rumble was the most lackluster Rumble in the history of Rumbles. And if Ronda didn't return to come and win, there would have been no freaking surprises in that.
Absolutely, and people are behind her this time around and appreciate her presence compared to a few years ago during Becky's organic pop run. And there were things, time constraints was an issue. That women's match would have been one of the greatest women's matches of all time. Her and Charlotte's main event at WrestleMania if it wasn't for the referee counting too early.
Oh, yeah.
in this match, Charlotte and Ronda are gonna, if you're watching SmackDown, are gonna have another chance to deliver at WrestleMania Backlash. But I think that this should have been either. You should have had scrap the Becky Lynch Bianca match night 2 and have this add more minutes to this match. They just did all like.
Well, what
their
I'm
submission
saying is,
finishes,
right,
in
what
my
I'm
opinion.
thinking, I mean, well, they could have just replaced the freaking tag match with New Day with one of the women's matches, considering it didn't happen night 1.
Exactly, dude.
They could have just did that, and it would have been fine. But I get it. They didn't want all their tags on the first night. It was very unproportional because you have almost all your celebrities on night 2.
Absolutely, buddy. Like
They could have did 1 and 1, but But then after this match, yes, we were kind of like, well, is the New Day coming out?
Yeah,
because I was like, they're gonna close with the New Day before the main. What the hell is going on here? And then there was no New Day, and it was the main event. And, like I said, we were still out trying to get some food. By the time we got home, things had really kicked off. But, it was the KO show.
With Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Who's been talking shit about
the home state of Texas.
And everything. But he's also adopted that finisher for quite some time now.
It's in the stunner. And Stone Cold came out on the freaking KO show, and everyone, and Owen, it was actually KO the heel challenging Stone Cold to a match, and Austin wanted a no holds barred match, and I was surprised. I expected this to be a 2 or 3 minute match.
I didn't think
or an impromptu match, kind of like Cena versus Undertaker.
Yeah, or maybe
Rock last time in Dallas when The Rock had a segment with the Wyatt family and Cena. When he had a 7-second match with Eric Rowan.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were just going to see a couple of stunners, fingers, some bears, and boom.
We got a lot more than that.
No, we got a full Austin match that you would see on a Monday Night Raw.
It was
almost 20 years ago, and this dude hasn't missed a beat.
And he had his first ever match in Dallas, Texas.
He looked great.
Looked in great shape. He didn't look his age.
Nope, he didn't look
awesome.
fatigued. He was able to keep up.
He knew he could give it all for one match,
And he did, and he did it, and he did a great job. And KO did a great job working with
Because you don't need to see another Undertaker, Stone Cold, Rock, Stone Cold.
No, and we don't need to see,
Triple H.
you don't need to see some Saudi match where people don't look good.
But him versus KO, they were very similar. I wish we'd gotten Stone Cold and CM Punk years ago. That would have been amazing. But at the same time...
maybe CM Punk comes back, huh?
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if frickin' Roman faces Stone Cold just to beat him.
CM Punk will come back, though, after maybe, and he'll beat him, too. Roman will beat everybody.
How funny that would be.
Roman should beat Hogan.
Oh, that would be funny. Vince is willing to destroy his past for Roman,
You
you
should
know?
bring back all the legends and have Hogan beat them one by
And
one.
they'd have holograms for access instead of actual meet and greets with non-legend. Why don't they bring back holograms of the greats?
How do you meet a hologram? And does it sign
Maybe
a hologram?
Well, in South Park, Michael Jackson's hologram through a concert Versace.
Oh.
Hee.
But yes, so you had a great Stone Cold match. He kicked ass.
And this was a very, they were smart to do this late because you finished the epic Final Four where you had the greatest rivalry in college basketball, Duke and North Carolina.
Well, that's another thing. You had professional sports running against professional wrestling, which is very hard. I don't know why you would run against Final Four basketball. Shit's like a cult.
In the past 15 years, you had the Final Four Saturday national title on Monday.
People watch that religiously like a cult.
Especially if they went to college, Versace.
Oh yeah, they love their home team.
I never thought we'd ever see Stone Cold wrestle again. And I was blessed it was not more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 or even 10. It was a 15+ minute match.
Yeah, it was amazing, dude. But, what a way to close off night one of Mania. And
You had a lot of stunners. You had KO hitting himself with a steel chair.
Honestly, they could have ended it there and made the next night Backlash and it might have done okay.
Maybe. It's not like Backlash a few years ago if everyone walked out of the main event.
No.
You had Stone Cold either turning Vince, being on Vince's side during many Manias. He's had a lot of memorable moments. He's more known for his moments on network TV than actually at WrestleMania. Stone Cold.
Oh yeah, Monday Night Raw. He's what
the Zamboni, the beard.
Listen, him and DX are what changed the war and what won it for Vince. Mostly Stone Cold, honestly.
Rock too, but you had something like
more than Stone Cold. People
wanted more known for Mania.
Everybody has the fantasy of, sticking it to the man, beating their boss. They want to see their boss get their ass kicked. There's games out there for your phone. You can beat your boss. Everybody, you have that one annoying boss, and you just can't stand it. Well, he lived out everybody's fantasy on national TV every week by driving his boss crazy. I mean, there was segments where McMahon was in the hospital even, and he was being attacked by Austin. The Zamboni, you're right. Austin and him. These guys would wrestle. Yes, they had some great Mania matches, Valentine's Day Massacre, and other things that happened, but everything took place Monday Night Raw. It was Austin's. It was him. I mean, Raw was war, and Austin was fighting and winning it.
Absolutely, Versace.
They brought back, and it was weird because there was a lot of people that had never seen Austin fight live that watched this WrestleMania.
Now I remember seeing him lose to The Rock at one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time, WrestleMania 19 at Safeco Field. He lost to The Rock where he owned The Rock for 2 Manias in a row, and the Attitude Era outsmarting Vince McMahon and Charisma The Rock. And you never thought you'd see him have a last match. He really didn't announce his retirement. He just said, fuck it, my neck hurts, and he didn't want to risk it,
Yeah.
Austin 316 just whipped your ass. Then he flipped off. Kevin Owens got escorted by local police, and you thought he was going to celebrate with none other than Brian Saxton, that goon. But he has a beer from and he stuns him. The place marks out when you hear that glass shatter.
Oh, yeah, and that's going to be something that's going to live forever in WWE history. It's just when that glass shatters, everybody pops.
Gotta get my hands on some of those IPAs for your bachelor party, Versace.
Yes.
They're available in the country now.
Well, the day after my wedding, unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get out there, but they're going to be releasing those very limited edition Dan Champion, very good professional wrestler, and Sydney Bacabella beers.
Sydney Bacabella!
I can't wait for the day they let that man back in the Hall of Fame. I'll go to that ceremony, that's for sure.
Sure we'll get VIP access.
I hope so. Did you get VIP tonight in Dedham, Massachusetts?
Yeah, but people that don't even do any video work can get it for free.
No VIP for you, Wolf. Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf.
Bad.
But night one, overall, nice night. It was a good night of wrestling. It was a nice Mania. It was a nice time. It had its moments. It had its downfalls. Yes, I know the first match should have ended differently and things happened. But overall, it was very interesting. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. I know there's haters out there. I don't go into watching Mania anymore with any expectations whatsoever because you know what? Every time I do, I'm disappointed, Wolf. But if you go in there thinking it's going to be crap, guess what? It's going to surprise you. It's not that bad.
Not at all, Versace. No. Especially night one. That would have been fine as a one-night Mania.
Would have been.
Or I think this Mania would have been better off. You look at some cards in years past, like recently 35, would have been better off as 2 nights. But you got... This Mania would have been better off as one. Stone Cold main eventing or Brock Lesnar and Roman. Some of these matches didn't need as much minutes. Some of them needed more. I feel like a 2-night Mania would have been better in some years, but this year wasn't the year for it.
No, I don't think so, but, whatever. Like I said, I can't cry over that. It is what it is, unfortunately.
I get it. Some people feel that if you're looking at it, whether you sit on the couch and watch it or you go to Mania week, like whether you're an indie star or just
Well, I
a
mean,
guy
here's the
that
deal.
fan.
Here's the deal. I mean, you want to talk about like that. Being at home, watching it on the TV, a 2-night Mania sucks, dude. Okay, I'm just saying, you got to plan. I don't like to watch these things alone, so I like to plan something with people.
Yeah. Exactly.
You got to plan things with people. It's 2 nights. You know, as you see, like our friends, you know, one came one night and the others came the other night, but nobody ever came both nights. It's hard to get everybody to come together for 2 nights of Mania. Do you go out? Where do you go? You know, who's showing it? Movie theaters show. That's a lot of money.
David Buster's.
$60 though for something that costs $5 or free. Not really worth it.
Back then, it would have been worth it.
Back in the day during the Attitude
Before the
Era,
network, too.
yes. Before the network, before those days. But you know.
I thought night one was awesome. Had all the surprises and everything. I really loved night one. A lot of people did. I knew, looking back to weeks prior before the Seth announcement with Cody or with Stone Cold being on the talk show, you all thought night two was going to look way better. But it was going to be very hard for night two to out-top night one. This is WWE. This isn't AEW where every match is going to be great from bottom to top.
You never know what you're going to get in WWE, honestly. We've been
like
disappointed,
opening
been
a
surprised.
fortune
Anything can freaking happen. But I'm going to tell you this, you know. It kind of delivered for what I needed it to do.
Definitely did. Oh.
Why don't we take a little second break? I'm going to go do something. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Wolfcats? Opening day baseball, I think.
Yeah, Red Sox faced off the Yankees. Originally delayed from a rain delay yesterday, folks. The greatest rivalry in all of sports. And baseball is back. Who would have thought it'd been back this early? You thought they'd be striking till at least 4th of July. But the players and owners finally got their heads out of their asses, folks. But it was a heartbreaking loss for the Boston Red Sox today. They were up 3-0 on the Yankees, and the Yankees came back. It was terrible. Evaldi did pitch a decent game, but he got shellacked after the 4th inning. So it wasn't a great thing. But it's hard for them to have their ball rust because they didn't have as much spring training to get ready. You got the Boston Bruins trying to get that second seed in the Atlantic Division to face either the Toronto Maple Leafs, the choking hazards of professional sports, and the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, folks. You got the playoffs heading into the city of Boston. April, May is a busy time of year. You got the Marathon Monday happening. You finally have it twice. You finally have it in its April slot after over 2 fucking years, folks. You got the Celtics competing for the number 2 seed. They looked like they were out of it before Christmas time. And they've only lost 10 games since the new year, folks. They're going to catch up, the Boston Celtics. It's going to be a very interesting playoffs. They lost to the Bucks yesterday, but they beat the Bulls. That was awesome. But in the standings, the Boston Celtics are third. 2 games behind them. 1 game behind the Bucks. They won't get the number 1 seed. But you get the Sixers, Raptors, and Bulls chasing them. They'll be facing the Nets. Or they're most likely going to face the Bulls or the Raptors if I had to guess. You got the NBA and NHL playoffs starting soon. Opening day of baseball. It's time to bring back the Wolfcast. We got a lot of our technical difficulties almost fixed. Not 100%. We did have a fallback, folks. That's why we're behind. But I want to bring the Wolfcast back. Ooh.
Bringing the Wolfcast back to Boston.
Absolutely. I hope you guys are enjoying this WrestleMania recap presentation. Sorry we're so late with this, folks, but better late than never, right?
Sure is, and we had a busy week with other wrestling, AEW, which we might actually do a full recap of that come Friday so we can do dark, regular, Dynamite,
And do
Rampage.
not miss that Rampage tonight, folks.
Nobody missed that Rampage. Nobody missed
Please
the
tune up the last 2 minutes. It was freaking awesome, that Moxley-Yuta match. One of the best matches, not only for Rampage, one of my favorite wrestling matches I've ever seen.
One of my favorite all-time wrestling matches. I mean, I'm telling you.
I know a lot of you WWE folks don't like AEW, going to give it a chance. Put the differences aside and watch it. Can support both. I don't care what any internet people say. We're trying to bring the positivity to all the wrestling from the local VFW to the main event arenas. We are trying our best, folks. Very fun. I am excited for the wrestling. We are ready. We recapped the favorite night one.
Well, yes, I was a little bit, night 2 to say, well, was going to be a little bit, I don't know what to really expect. Because of the fact that last year, night 2 just did not deliver for me.
Night 2 was supposed to be way, way better last year for some.
Way better.
And it fell flat. But my expectations coming into night 2 were down because 2 of the best moments in wrestling you look forward to all weekend happened in one night.
Well, you had the double women's match, like you said.
And you had Stone Cold coming back to wrestle in 19 years and the anticipating return of Cody Rhodes, the shock factor. It was very hard to follow, but match 2, night 2 of WrestleMania came out with actually a great match, a way better than average match. Triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Champion between Rated RK Bro, the Viper, Randy Orton, and Bro Riddle. Taking on the challengers, the Street Profits. We want the smoke at the VSW. And you got Alpha Academy.
We want the smoke. We want the smoke. Hey!
And the Alpha Academy of Chad Gable and Otis. So this was one of the...
I'm wondering where that Flowers went. Well, I thought I had it.
Flowers? Didn't you check at the floor?
I don't know. These people, they touch my stuff. They lose my stuff. I thought I had it right with me. I know I didn't leave it in the car, and I know I had it with me. We didn't go anywhere, but... who knows? But yes, we do want the smoke, Again, they'll open up with a tag team matchup?
Yep.
Shorty Gable, well now Chad Gable again.
And Otis, who were former Raw Tag Team champs.
These two were like one of the biggest over baby faces for a minute. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, now they're both heel. But, you remember Otis was at his height when he won that title, won the Money in the Bank.
Oh, absolutely, Versace.
He was at his prime, I think, just over with Mandy Rose.
Yeah, I know. So over the one man that and winning Money in the Bank to have a good pandemic quarantine.
Yeah. But, like I said, going into night 2, I didn't know what to freaking expect. Because we've had such inconsistencies in the past with Manias. Because, we've had, weird night 1, night 2, like last year.
Absolutely.
Some will even say,
But Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, holy cow, they were over Versace.
They are, and I'm just waiting for one of them to turn on each other, but I don't think it's going to happen.
They're becoming
Right now,
great
not
as
yet.
a tag team.
Not yet. But, they are wicked over. RK Bro is in full effect. It's a team I like. I like Randy Orton. I didn't know if I would like him face. After all the great heel work he has done, the legend killer. But you know what? This is working. This is working.
And he's the first man to ever come into WWE WrestleMania with every current title to enter WrestleMania.
I love it. I love it.
He's been wrestling as many WrestleManias than as someone like an Undertaker or Triple H, John Cena. He's known for it, and he had a great tag match with Riddle. And this was a great back and forth with the Street Profits, the Aerial, the Gable and Otis's, who they're a pretty odd tag team in my opinion.
Hey, you know how I feel about these tag teams.
Oh, big time.
But I don't know why they couldn't put them against New Day.
Oh, I know it. Oh, I know it. It's a very interesting Mania for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, it did end up RK Bro getting that victory. And after them and the Street Profits tried to celebrate, do a smoke with Olympian Gable Stevenson, the next big thing in WWE.
He's coming.
It's from Minnesota.
He's here.
Could have a Brock Lesnar type career.
He could have. He could be like Kurt Angle.
Very true. They were about to, and then Chad Gable got pissed, and everyone wanted to do a so he got his WrestleMania moment at Chad Gable. Chad Gable getting attacked, getting a RKO and the Viper and something from Riddle and the Street Profits maneuvers. One of my favorite matches on the night. It did a lot better than I thought. A perfect match to open night 2.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And now you ready to move on, Versace?
Sure am.
But this night 1, I forgot to mention, did start off with the, oh, hell, time to play the game. And Triple H thanked everybody. Too bad he only had a last match in front of a no crowd or a house show, if you want to look at it. Really sad about
It's too
that.
bad, but like I said,
He didn't
never
leave his
say
boots.
never. These people are not going to end.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way it will end.
Triple H can come back in a couple of years. He gets things better. He's going to put on a match.
Oh, you got that right, my
You
friend.
see legends come back all the time. And, you know, it happens.
Of course it does, my friend.
But
So,
after the tag match, now we had another match. What was
absolutely. Keeping up with you tonight. I'm doing a pretty good job this time around.
Mm-hmm.
You got the last minute match of the giant undefeated Omos versus Bobby Lashley, who everyone's surprised he got to return from his injury.
that? This is about the time the edible kicked in for you, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But,
it was a very short match.
It was. It wasn't. It really didn't. It was. Yeah, like it was a very short match. It was just like
Bobby
okay.
Lashley had to make it to Mania if he had an epic win over Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for the title after Roman interfered.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
And he got injured in the chamber.
you had Lashley in the title defense system. You had him up there. You got to have him in Mania.
Mm-hmm. It was a quick spear and squash victory between two dominant African American men. Omos was the next big giant. That's the team with AJ Styles' debut match a year ago, beating the New Day.
That's awesome. That was one of my favorite 37 Mania matches.
Omos is gonna have a great career.
Yeah, he will.
I'm happy Lashley won. Lashley leading the match. I kind of wish they had the Battle Royal on the card and had Omos win it. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I know. Omos needs to win that. I mean,
Big Show won it.
I would like to, honestly, to be honest with you, I would have liked to see Omos in NXT. Like, put him against Braun Breaker. Put him against, what's his name?
Dolph Ziggler.
No, the one that looks like Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, Parker Boudreaux, Harland.
Harlan. Put him against Harlan. Put him against some other big guys. Let him work NXT. Don't throw, I mean, yes, he deserves Mania. He can work it, but he can work these other guys too. He's a big dude, and we don't have a lot of big dudes in wrestling anymore.
Not at all. And that's a great thing. We all thought Braun Strowman would be the great. He's too busy trying to control his narrative now.
Yeah, he's controlling his narrative. No super kicks, no slapping legs,
No Canadian destroyers.
no Canadian destroyers. I mean, come on. No leg slaps or whatever the hell. It's crazy. And you got to fight. No contracts, though, which is nice, I guess, for people that have been released. But
wasn't too special in this match. The real moment happened the night after when Envy.
Seconds later, the glass shatters, and then Vince acts surprised again. He botched it. And Austin comes out, and now we have this classic, once again, Monday Night Raw moment that is just, so many years later now. And it was kind of terrible to watch.
Absolutely.
Vince freaking could not take that stunner if his life depended on it. I mean, he missed it like 3 times.
Oh, I know it, Versace. I know it. Oh, I know it. He missed it 3 times, but he inserted himself in the match after that show.
Oh, yeah.
After that, he did defeat Austin Theory, and what a great match. And then Vince announced that he himself was fit, and he took that cheap victory over Pat McAfee.
Oh, yeah, he did. Like I said, he took cheap victory, but even after that...
He did roll up the Theory for the 3 count.
When Austin came out, oh, my God. Like I said, there's nobody... Like I said, these are WrestleMania. These are Monday Night Raw. That's what people grew up with. If you were an Attitude fan, this is what you thrived to watch every Monday night. What was Austin gonna do to Vinny?
Absolutely.
And like I said, Vince never ceases to amaze. While he might have botched that, he does great for his age on the scene.
Oh, I know.
He was great. And, like I said, it was a Mania moment. He made a Mania moment out of it. Regardless, the jokes that are being made, at least he went on and tried. And, it was another Mania moment with Austin. Are you ready to move on?
Absolutely, Versace. You had the botch stunner and things just like years past. You had Austin coming out for 2 moments in a row. You had him stun Vince McMahon. They send everyone home happy. Oh, wait, there's the most stupendous main event in WrestleMania history. Self-proclaimed the biggest main event in WrestleMania history. Title versus title, WWE versus Universal. Between the Universal Champ, the leader of the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman, taking on the WWE Champion, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar.
Now, let me talk to you something. I thought this was going to be something a little bit
They
different.
finally got me excited for a
Well, they did, because you had a face
great
Lesnar
video package.
who's been doing these weird-ass shit.
You never had heel Roman versus face Lesnar.
And you never had this. And honestly, it all was a big letdown, buddy. It just did not deliver. Now, I did hear Roman pulled his shoulder, but, I don't know. I think they could have did more. It started off very good. Okay, it started off a little different, and then it started going finisher for finisher again. And you know how I feel about that. A match full of finishers just dismisses what a finisher is. A finisher is for the finisher. You shouldn't kick out of the finisher. Maybe you kick out of one if you have a holy shit moment, but come on now. Finisher after finisher after finisher, it's over. Spears and this and that, and F5 spear, F5 spear. We've seen this so many times. You used to have fans walking out of these matches with Roman versus Brock Lesnar. It wasn't favorable back in the day.
Oh, I know it.
But, it was a little different as you had the face Roman. What did you think about it? What did you think about having the face Brock versus the heel
I was interested in it. Finally, you had a title versus title. You had Brock Lesnar as a charisma cowboy. We never thought we'd ever see him. He just liked to stun people, suplex people, and leave, go home. But he was just making the best out of it this time around. He has a man bun to him. He returned at WrestleMania. The people went nuts after the pandemic mania. He took the whole pandemic off, basically. He had no desire to come back without fans. As he's a homebody, he's fine not going anywhere. He's just there for the money, But finally, he doesn't act like it.
No, for sure.
And no one's really had a chance to cheer for face Lesnar. Except years ago when he became Suplex City.
And I think it was the right decision. I don't think Brock going over Roman would have helped anybody. Especially not Roman. Where would Roman go from there?
I know.
Now he can go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of challenges for the tribal chief now. You got the Usos. He wants the Usos to unify the tag titles now.
Yep. They
What's
want
he
them
gonna
to
find?
do that, and if that happens, and that could, that would be pretty interesting. Everybody
At
would be
this point,
unified.
just unify the titles for 6 months.
Unify them for a while. Who knows? Yeah, but you know what I'm
Not
saying?
permanent, but
Maybe get rid of brands for a while.
it makes the world titles more important because if both
Listen,
Roman's
maybe you
hold-
get rid of brands for a while and just rotate.
and whoever beats Roman, I think they are making them look strong because, as you know, next year WrestleMania is in LA in the Pacific.
Well, everybody's talking about The Rock, and everybody was hoping The Rock would have came out at the end of this, but that did not happen.
I wish that happened too, Versace.
I know, everybody wanted it to happen.
A lot of people wanted to happen at last WrestleMania too.
They did.
I do think if the Stone Cold can
Hey,
come
if
back and
Austin
wrestle.
can do it, I mean, hey, Rock can do it.
The only thing with him, of course, if Rock ever comes back for one match, it has to be against Roman. It's just like we have to see Triple H and Cody Rhodes.
It's either that or The Rock is going to help Roman, but I mean, family blood is thicker than water, so who knows what can happen. But, you know, like I said, overall, 2-Night Mania, not a big fan, but
Night 1 was overall way better than Night 2.
It was.
And Night 2 had great moments.
Night
too.
2 had a lot of humor in it.
Absolutely.
You had the Vince throwback moments, and then you had also the Johnny Knoxville fun.
But my big problem is if you're gonna make Mania 2 nights, dude, you gotta make it not only 2 nights, you gotta make it frickin' balanced. Like have an IC title one night, US on, and definitely have both women's matches on separate
Yeah,
nights.
you got to split that up.
That would have been way better if they were on separate nights.
But overall, I mean, I have to say it's worth the watch if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, hope you enjoyed it.
It is worth it. It was
It is.
Great Mania compared to the past few years. Did have the cinematic matches, and last year I wasn't crazy with the weather and everything. With this WrestleMania, it was a letdown last year, but those 2 main events kept it sane.
It did. So
This year, it was an overall great Mania. Things could have been better, but at the same time, I think it did what it had to do. It got people talking. And Roman winning both titles is the right call because whether it's a month, 6 months, next WrestleMania, whoever beats him, hopefully it's not The Rock, will get a huge push and a huge new star like an Undertaker, Stone Cold, Triple H, Austin, Cena level. We need more of that in WWE.
we do. So a lot of things are going to be happening, and we're going to see some changes. I think.
I agree with that.
And not to mention, we got Cody Rhodes in WWE now. We're going to have some. See where he
But
goes.
that save Cody and Roman for if Roman's gonna hold it. Save it for at least SummerSlam, maybe next year's Mania if you can't get The Rock.
Might be doing SummerSlam though. You know.
That'd be awesome.
All-American Cody makes kind of sense. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do, but I think it's going to be good. I thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a great night here at VSW Podcast. Talk to everybody, son. Versace Stoner out.
Disable out. I think we did really good.